morning. It is Monday, October 30th, 2023, and it's time for a reality check. Welcome to my channel. If you're new here, my name is Elizabeth, and I am living in the light by documenting my weight loss journey. And I've been using Optavia's 5-in-1 program, but honestly, it really doesn't matter what program you use as long as you are working to have a healthier body. That just happens to be the vehicle that I used to lose over 150 pounds. If you want more information about me, you can scroll down to the description box, just click where it says see more, and you can see my contact information there as well. As part of my journey, each week I have created, or almost every week, I've created a reality check video where I have let you know how I'm doing as far as weight loss goes, as far as inches, things that I've been learning as well along the way. I know a lot of you have really enjoyed and appreciated and looked forward to each of these check-ins that I have had with you each time. And I do intend to continue these in some form. For those of you who don't know, I have reached my goal weight. I am in the process of the transition from the weight loss portion to basically maintenance. I am in my very last week of transition. I'm starting my very last week of transition today, and I'll talk to you a little bit more about that just in a moment. But if you enjoy content like this, if you enjoy learning about weight loss and how you can achieve your goals or get some encouragement along the way, please scroll down, give this video a thumbs up. It really does. It supports me. It supports my channel. And it also, you can subscribe, and that way you can get notified when I post more videos. So I'd really appreciate it. Those likes, those subscribes, they really do help me out. Those of you who have been following me closely know that I didn't post last week. I didn't post the week before. 2 weeks ago, I was actually on vacation. So we were at the beach, and I didn't do a reality check that week. I didn't even bring my scale with me on vacation, which was really kind of crazy. Last week, we got back on Sunday night, later on Sunday night. We actually came in, it was dark. It was just late, and by the time I got up in the morning, I just had so many things that I needed to do, and I had to work all day that day as well. So there were tasks and stuff that needed to get done in the morning, and I just didn't have time to video. I was going to do it then on Tuesday, but it is busy. As you know, when you get back from vacation, it's almost like you need a vacation from your vacation. So I didn't do one last week either. So it has been a couple of weeks, and I wanted to share with you how the transition process is going. But before I do, let me share with you how I've done as far as weight loss and inches go since my last reality check. So I've lost 3 pounds in the last 3 weeks. So I'm losing about a pound a week throughout this transition process. And that's completely normal. And let me kind of explain, I think I've explained this before, but I have a lot of people who are like, are you still losing while you're in transition? You shouldn't be losing while you're still in transition. Well, yes, you should. As a matter of fact, I think I might have talked about this in the last video. But let me just say it again. You are eating, or I am eating, fewer calories than my body needs in order to maintain my weight. So there is a calculator you can use. It's the TEED or TED, or I don't know. It's your total energy expenditure calculator. Google it, you can find it. There are several. And you calculate it based on your weight, like whatever you weigh, where you want to stay as far as your weight. Your male or female, your height, your age, your activity level, like all of those things kind of play a factor in how your body uses energy. Also how active you are. So if you exercise 1 or 2 times a week, if you're sedentary, if you are, extremely, you're athletic, all of that plays into how many calories you need. And for where I want to be as far as my goal weight, for my age, for my height, for my activity level, everything, I should probably have about 1,800 calories a day. I may not quite go that high because, to be honest, right now I am doing good if I can get in 1,300 calories. Of course, I'm still on transition. I haven't completely dropped all of the fuelings yet, but I will eventually. And as I'm thinking about replacing and what I'm going to be eating, I really can't imagine eating more than I am eating, but I'm eating 500 calories at least less than what my body needs to maintain the weight that I'm at or where I want to be, because it's actually a little bit lower. So therefore I am still losing. And so that's totally expected. I plan to probably, from where I am right now, I'd like to drop another 6 pounds, maybe 10 pounds, just kind of in that range. I am 4 pounds below my initial goal weight. But that was in reality my top end of where I never want to get above that number. And if I can stay about 10 pounds below that, that will give me that flexibility of, oh, we go on vacation, or we have a holiday or something. And if I have a day where, oh, my weight goes up a little bit, it's not going to go all the way. I'm not going to gain 10 pounds in a day. And if I do, for some weird reason, it'll drop off rather quickly. So what's really important is knowing your maximums. And that's kind of what I'm working with right now. Is I know that where I was as far as my goal weight is my absolute maximum, and I'm trying to stay down below that. So let me do just a really quick explanation of the transition process. When you're on Optavia 5-in-1, or 5-in-1 is the one that is the most common one. That means you're eating 5 of the Optavia fuelings. Those range anywhere from 90 to 110 calories depending on the fueling itself. They are all fairly equal as far as their macros. The calories may have a 20 calorie range, but you're getting similar amounts of protein, carbs, fat within those things. And so you're eating 5 of those. So max in fuelings, you're getting 550 calories. If you ate 5 of the 110 calorie fuelings, you'd get 550. If you had 5 of the 90 calorie ones, you'd have 450. So you're 450 to 550 as far as fuelings. And then your lean and green meal, they say it should be anywhere from 250 to 400 calories as your lean and green meal. I think up to 500 is probably fairly safe. I wouldn't do a 500 calorie all the time when I'm trying to lose weight, but still, even at 500 calories, you're having 1,050 calories max. And that with the 250 and 450, that's 7. So you're anywhere from 700 calories to 1,050 calories. Like that's the max that you are having. So you're looking at an average of about 900 calories a day. And that's a pretty safe average. It is not starvation. You cannot starve yourself if you are eating a balance of protein, fat, and carbs 6 times a day. Like you are giving your body nutrients 6 times a day. You are also giving your body vitamins and minerals, probiotics. Those are in the fuelings. If you are choosing your own fuelings, if you are just following a healthy eating system and you're trying to stick to 900 calories, just make sure that every time you eat, you're getting a little bit of protein, a little bit of carbs, a little bit of fat with each of your times that you eat, and that helps to fuel your body. So with the transition process, then you start each week is you're gradually increasing your calories, you're gradually increasing what you're eating, you're adding to the range of foods that you're eating, and you're slowly eliminating the packaged fuelings and replacing them with other items. While you're on the 5-in-1, you're not eating fruit, you're not eating whole grains, except those that are part of the packaged fueling. So the only grains you get are there. And then you're not eating dairy, with the exception of there is some dairy that can be had as far as condiments go, and some lean protein, some reduced fat cheese, fat-free yogurt, things like that. So there is a little bit of dairy, but you're not drinking milk. I guess you could have a couple of tablespoons in your coffee. But there are some of those things that you're not getting a whole lot of while you are on the 5-in-1, so you're gradually adding those things back in. So week 1 is you add an extra cup of vegetables. So 5-in-1, the lean and green, you get 1.5 cups of vegetables, or up to 3 cups of like leafy greens. So you just kind of have it's each serving, you get 3 servings of greens. It's either a cup of, each green is a cup of leafy greens like lettuce stuff, or a half a cup of pretty much anything else. There's some that you can't have, and that doesn't matter. So you're adding an extra cup. So basically 2 greens. You could have up to 2 cups of lettuce if you were going to do something like that. So you're adding that week. What I did that week, and I've talked about this before, is I just added some to my lunchtime fueling. So I typically have potato soup, and I added that, some vegetables there. And I also did like that. I would do like a half a cup with that soup, and then a half a cup with my 4th fueling, like some celery or some cucumbers or cherry tomatoes or something, kind of with my mid-afternoon fueling. Week 2, you get to add fruit back, and that is 2 medium-sized pieces of fruit or a cup of chopped fruit. I typically did and do strawberries, blueberries, cantaloupe. Those are the 3 fruits that I typically do and have in the refrigerator. I also had a can of pineapple in its juice, not in syrup. And so I do love pineapple and cottage cheese. And so that was something that I did. So when I added the fruit, I dropped a fueling. So I was down to 4 fuelings, a lean and green, a cup of vegetables, and a cup of fruit. So what I did was I dropped my very first fueling in the morning, and I added a cup of fruit. So I did that fruit then in that particular week. Now, when I got to week 3, I'm still having 4 fuelings, but I added in a cup of low-fat or fat-free dairy. And so what I did then was I would do a half a cup of yogurt. So one of those yogurt cups, it's a little more than half a cup, but you know, that little bit, I'm not going to waste that little bit. So I would have one of the, like an Oikos 000, a Too Good, Dan & Light and Fit. I know some people like the Chobani Greek. I decided that the Chobani Zero Sugar, there's something in the texture of it that I'm not crazy about. So I tried it. I was not a fan of it, but a cup of yogurt with a half a cup of fruit. And then my second fueling, the second time I eat, I love oatmeal. And so I've been having the Optavia oatmeal. I added my other half a cup of fruit to that fueling. And then in the afternoon, I added the other half cup of dairy as in the form of cottage cheese to my 4th fueling. So I was trying to really spread out those additions instead of trying to do them all at one time, to kind of spread them out so my body is getting used to having additional calories throughout the day. Instead of just 90 calories or 100 calories, I'm getting more like 150, and I'm gradually working up so I'm having about 200 calories 3 or 4 times a day, and then 2 medium-sized meals as my other fuelings. So that brings me to week 4. Week 4 was actually my week of vacation, so I didn't talk about this one. And weeks 4, 5, and 6 are the same. So you add in week 4, you add and subtract actually in week 4, and then you do the same. You just keep that same schedule for 3 weeks in a row, and that does allow your body to acclimate, because you are again dropping another fueling. So you're down to 3 fuelings, and you are adding 4 to 6 ounces of lean protein, and you are also adding a serving of whole grains. Now in the guide, it does let you know you can have like a slice of whole grain bread, a third of a cup of brown rice. There are several things that are listed in the guide. You can also Google Optavia healthy exchanges, and you can see the whole grain list as part of that. If you want to look at it and see what it looks like, anybody can look it up. It's not, you don't have to be an Optavia member to see that. I have said before, bread is my kryptonite. I just can't go back to bread. It will be an extremely rare occurrence for me to have bread. So what I opted to do was I opted to use the Wassa crisp breads, which are just basically whole grain crackers, and they're about that big. And I do 2 of those as my grain. And so my daily schedule for that was, my very first fueling was yogurt and a half cup of fruit. I've been doing that for 3 weeks. I like that. It works really well. My next fueling is oatmeal with a half a cup of fruit. Again, I like that. It's working for me really well. My third fueling then is kind of my lunch. And what I've done is I've either made a tuna, chicken, or egg salad. Now, nutrition support says you don't get any added condiments or healthy fats. And I say, sorry, I'm going to add something to my tuna, my chicken, or my egg salad. And I have added a tablespoon of mayonnaise and a teaspoon of Dijon mustard to any of those 3, and that makes enough. If I'm adding, honestly, it's working for me. I don't know why you wouldn't be able to add, if you have something that's a leaner or a leanest, why you wouldn't add the fat. So I have been, and clearly I've still lost on transition. So, you know, I was strictly adhered to the guide throughout the 5-in-1. And I think I understand at this point, after 66 weeks on the program, and actually been more than that now, that if I add a measured tablespoon, it's not just like I'm just going to mamby-pamby throw something in there. I am counting and paying attention to what I'm using, so I'm not overusing. So I do one of those salads with 2 of the crisp breads, and then about a cup of vegetables. So it's lettuce leaves, cucumber slices, cherry tomatoes is kind of what I've been doing. Just having a delicious, tasty lunch. That's my 4th fueling. My 5th fueling is potato soup. Sometimes I make it into a waffle. The mashed potato fueling, cottage cheese, and sometimes, depending on how many vegetables I had with my lunch, I might throw some vegetables in there. Sometimes I just have the oatmeal in the morning without the fruit, and I add, if I have cottage cheese and pineapple in the afternoon, is what I do for that one. Then I have a typical lean and green. I think for the rest of my life, my dinner meals will be fairly calculated, just to make sure that I'm not overdoing it. You know, 9 times out of 10, I'm going to be very careful about portion sizes, and that's something that I've really come to be aware of, is making sure that I have moderate portion sizes for my foods. And then my last fueling right now is still an Optavia brownie, cookie, you know, something along those lines, a sweet fueling before I go to bed. And those are my 6. This is my last week, so I'm still following that process. But to be completely transparent, I feel very done with fuelings. Like I just feel like I just can't do it anymore. And I also feel like I have a really good handle on portion size, calories. I'm using an app called Prosper to log all of my food and keep track of calories. So it is letting me know the macros of every meal that I eat as I enter. So I am not using the Optavia oatmeal as of this week. I have dropped that and I've replaced it with 100 calorie Better Oats, which you can order from Amazon, you can order from Target, you can also buy it at Kroger. I just found it at Kroger on Saturday. It is $3.99 for 10 pouches as opposed to $25 for 7 pouches from Optavia. So you better believe I'm switching. I am saving the fuelings that I have, because it's possible this spring I might do a month of 5-in-1, just to try to see if I could. Just depends on what my body does in this whole maintenance, but I should have enough fuelings kind of in reserve to be able to do a couple of weeks at least of 5-in-1, if not 4-in-2. So I'm just kind of doing that. So I've dropped that one. I have some maintenance fuelings, like the maintenance bars and shakes. I think I'm gonna replace my last fueling with those this week and see how that goes. And then instead of the potato soup, I haven't really decided what I'm gonna do this week, but I am gonna kind of replace it with something, just in that afternoon snack, making sure that I am having, about 150 calories. And so I will update you and let you know how I'm doing with that. I am going to do a transition video, specifically instead of a 5-in-1 101, it's going to be a transition 101, where I kind of walk through the entire process in a little bit more detail than I just did. And it'll just be out there as its own little entity. I think there are a lot of people who are very confused about transition and how it works. But it's clearly working. And I was telling my daughter Cameron yesterday, I feel so good, and I'm so proud of myself for literally, I really am proud of myself. And I know that it's not good to be proud, and I don't say it in a prideful way, but it was hard work. And I get it. I understand weight loss. I understand how to keep weight off. I understand this whole process, and I'm really excited to continue on. I also will say I am scheduling elements 8 and 9. I think tonight is what we're going to do, and we might do 10 and 11 in 2 weeks. I think I might try to do them in groups of 2 for a couple. There's a couple of elements in a row that are supposedly only 1 week to get through. They're pretty short, and so I might lump those together. I'm going to actually stop the recording after we get through 8. I'm going to stop the recording, and then I'm going to start another recording for 9, just so that I can post those separately on my YouTube channel, just because people are looking for specific unit elements. So that's that. So look forward to that link. If you're not following me on Facebook, then please do that so that you can get the reminders for those links, because I can't do that on YouTube, but you can follow me there. And that's what I got for today. So this was a little bit longer video. I got to go edit it and talk to my coach. I get one more chat with her after this week, and then I'm like thrown out of the nest. I've talked to her almost every single week for this entire process, so I will miss my weekly chats with her. But anyway, that's this week these last 3 weeks in a big nutshell. And I will come back next week to celebrate the end of transition and the beginning of maintenance. And let's do this. Until I see you next time, please live in the light.